Imagine spending 3 hours studying the night before an exam. You go through every note, you highlight every important line, you feel ready, you go to sleep confident. You wake up the next morning, sit down at that exam, flip to the first question, and your mind goes completely blank. Not because you're not smart, not because you didn't try hard enough, but because nobody ever taught you how your brain actually holds on to information. Here's the uncomfortable truth. The way most of us were taught to study, rereading, highlighting, cramming the night before, is almost completely useless. Science has known this for over 100 years, and yet nobody told us. Welcome back to The Green Explain, where we break down complex stuff so it actually sticks. Today, we're going inside your brain. We're going to look at exactly why you forget what you study and the specific techniques that will change the way you learn forever. Not theory, not motivation, practical steps you can use starting today. Let's get into it. How memory actually works. Think of your brain like a city. New information arrives at the city gates. That's your short-term memory. It's a busy, noisy, crowded place. Things come in, hang around for a few hours, and then most of them get kicked out. Gone. Forever. Your brain doesn't hold on to everything. It simply can't. It would collapse under the weight of it. But deep inside the city, past all the noise, there's a vault. Your long-term memory. This is where the important stuff lives permanently. Your mother's face, how to ride a bicycle, the lyrics to a song you haven't heard in 10 years. That stuff never leaves. The problem, there's a very strict bouncer standing at the entrance to that vault, and he asks one question every single time something tries to get in. Is this important enough to keep? And the way your brain decides something is important is through two things: repetition and connection. Seeing or using information more than once and tying it to something you already know. Here's a practical example. Imagine your lecturer gives you a new chemistry formula right at the end of class, just throws it on the board and moves on. You write it down, close your book, and go home. By the time you wake up the next morning, it's gone. Why? Because it arrived alone. No connection. No repetition. The bouncer looked at it and said, "Not important," and threw it out. But now imagine that same formula and your lecturer says, "This works exactly like how your phone charges. Energy goes in, gets stored, gets released." Suddenly, that formula is connected to something you already understand. It has a home in your brain. It sticks. That's your brain building what scientists call a neural pathway, a physical connection between brain cells. And the more you use that pathway, the stronger it becomes. Like a footpath in a field, walk it once, it's barely visible. Walk it every day for a month, it becomes a road. Stop walking it for a year, the grass grows back and it disappears. That last part matters, because pathways you don't use fade. In the 1880s, a German psychologist named Hermann Ebbinghaus did something obsessive. He spent years memorizing meaningless nonsense syllables and carefully tracking exactly how fast he forgot them. What he found is called the forgetting curve. Within just 24 hours of learning something new, you forget about 50% of it. Not because you weren't paying attention, just because that's how the brain works by default. Within a week, if you do nothing to reinforce it, up to 90% is gone. Let me make that real for you. Imagine it's Sunday. You study for 3 hours, biology, history, whatever. You feel good. Monday evening, half of what you studied is already gone. By the following Sunday, almost none of it remains. You basically studied for nothing. It's like filling a bucket with holes in the bottom. You pour in water, that's your study session. The moment you stop pouring and walk away, it all slowly drains out. Reading your notes once is not studying, it's just pouring water into a leaking bucket and hoping for the best. So what actually seals the holes? Reviewing at the right time. And that brings us to the techniques. Real quick, if you're finding this useful, hit the like button right now and share this video with a friend who's always studying but never remembering anything. One share could genuinely change how someone learns. Alright, let's keep going. The right techniques. 1. Spaced repetition. Instead of cramming everything into one long session, you spread your studying out over time, on purpose. Here's what it looks like. You learn something on Monday, you review it on Wednesday. Then again the following Monday. Then 3 weeks later. The gaps get longer each time, because each time you review, your brain strengthens the memory and needs less frequent reminding. Think of it like watering a plant. When you first plant a seed, you water it every day. As the roots grow deeper and stronger, you water it every few days. Then, once a week. The plant doesn't need as much help anymore, because it's built its own system. Your memory works the same way, and here's the key thing most students get wrong. They only review when they feel like they've forgotten. By then, it's too late. You want to review just before you forget. That moment of struggle, that slight effort to pull the memory back, is exactly what makes it stronger. 2. Active recall. Rereading feels productive. Your eyes move across familiar words. Your brain goes, "Yes, I know this." and you close the book feeling confident. But that feeling of familiarity is not the same as actually knowing something. It's one of the most dangerous traps in studying. Active recall is the opposite. Instead of passively absorbing, you force your brain to retrieve. Close your notes. Pick a topic. Now try to explain everything you know about it, out loud, to yourself, on paper, to a friend, it doesn't matter. Just get it out of your head without looking. Here's a real example. You're studying the causes of World War I. Instead of rereading the chapter, you close the book and say out loud, "Okay, World War I. What do I know?" You might remember 2 or 3 things. You feel stuck? That stuck feeling? That is the learning happening. Go back, check what you missed, then try again tomorrow. Think of it like this. Rereading is watching someone else work out at the gym. Active recall is you doing the reps. The effort is not a sign that it's not working. The effort is exactly why it works. 3. The Feynman technique, named after Richard Feynman, Nobel Prize-winning physicist and one of the greatest teachers who ever lived. His rule was simple and a little brutal. If you can't explain something in plain language, you don't understand it. You've just memorized the words. Here's how it works in practice. Pick any concept you're studying. Now explain it like you're talking to a curious 10-year-old who has never heard of it before. Let's say you're studying how the heart works. Don't say, "The left ventricle contracts to pump oxygenated blood through the aorta into systemic circulation." Instead say, "Your heart is basically a pump with 4 rooms. 2 rooms collect blood, 2 rooms push it out. One side sends blood to the lungs to pick up oxygen. The other side sends it around the rest of your body." Same information, completely different level of understanding. Now try it with something you're currently studying. The moment you get stuck, the moment you reach for complicated words because you don't know how to say it simply, that's the flag. That's your brain telling you, this part isn't really understood yet. Go back, fill that gap, then explain again. Keep going until a child could follow every word. Now let's put everything together into one clean, repeatable system. Step 1. Learn the material, lecture, textbook, video, whatever works for you. Step 2. Immediately after, grab a blank page and do a brain dump. Write down everything you can remember without looking at your notes. Everything. Don't judge it. Just get it out. Step 3. Review it the next day. Then 3 days later. Then a week later. Let the gaps grow longer as the memory gets stronger. Step 4. Teach it. Use the Feynman method at least once. Explain it out loud in simple language until you find the gaps, then fill them. 4 steps. And I promise you, 2 focused hours using this system will do more for your memory than 8 hours of highlighting and rereading. Think of it like the gym. One more time. Walking in once, lifting the heaviest thing in the room for 5 hours, and never coming back, that won't build muscle. It'll just destroy your body. But showing up 3 times a week, with the right technique, consistently, in 3 months, you are unrecognizable. Your brain responds to the exact same principles: consistency, repetition, and effort in the right places. So to recap, your brain doesn't remember everything. It remembers what you revisit, what you connect to something you already know, and what you can explain in your own words. Stop rereading. Start recalling. Space out your reviews. Teach it out loud. Study smarter, not longer. If this video helped you, drop a like, leave a comment, and share it with someone who needs to hear this. It genuinely helps the channel grow. And if you want more breakdowns like this every week, hit subscribe so you never miss one.